Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Shovel Knight's Dungeon Duels. Shovel Knights is brought to you by Panda Cult Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, and games range anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. Get ready to sharpen thy shovel as you and your fellow knights try to traverse the dungeon, avoiding traps, defeating monsters, and maybe pushing your fellow knight around a bit, maybe pushing them into traps, you never know. All in an effort to make it to the end of the dungeon, defeat the terrible boss monster, and make it out with the most treasure. Now, this game is based on the video game of the same name from Yacht Club Games, and it truly emulates that side-scrolling adventure. Let's take a closer look. Alright, so here's a quick look at setup. You're going to take all the tiles, specifically the basic tiles, and you're going to set those up first in this scrolling track. And then you have a set of tiles that relate to the boss that you're going to be fighting at the end of the dungeon. Now, whoever's the first player is going to decide which boss this is going to be. In our instance here is the King Knight that was provided with this prototype. You'll also set aside your boss chamber tile as well as the boss AI deck. You'll shuffle this up, the boss miniature as well as the boss stat card. Next, the players are going to pick out their Shovel Knights. So you'll pick a stat card and then your corresponding figure based on the color. Each player will start with 3 gold as well. Now, a look at your Shovel Knight card, you'll see that each Shovel Knight has their own special abilities as well as their stats. Across the top, you'll see their health, their attack value, then their defense value, and then their jump ability. And then along the bottom of the card is where you'll store your different types of accessories and armor. And you have your various tokens. You have gold, your health trackers, and your treasure mounds. Now, the treasure mounds are going to be placed out in the tiles, and they're placed out in this checkerboard pattern. Even if they are on top of a trap, they still will be placed there. And then you have your spawn deck, your relic deck, and your equipment deck. You'll get those all shoveled up, dice, and your various monsters. Each of the monsters have their own bit of stats, and they all represented in this handy card. Now, as you set up the board, you're going to be placing monsters. Anywhere there's a skull, you're going to draw a spawn card and place monsters out on the board. And then each player will set their Shovel Knights out in a start position, and you can begin the game. Now, each game round is divided into 3 phases. First, you have the hero phase, then you have the enemy phase, and then finally the end phase, where the board scrolls. All right, so on the hero phase, you can have up to 3 actions that you can perform. Now, if you movement, you can only move left or right, up or down, only orthogonal. And each movement is an action point. So if you move 3 spaces, that's your actions for this round. If you move onto a spot that has gold or has a treasure mound, you get to activate or pick those up for free. Now, treasure mound is awesome because you'll flip it over, you might get a relic card, you might get a gem that's worth gold. And those are the things you're looking for in the end is treasure. You want to have the most treasure at the end of the game. Now, relics are awesome because they give you special abilities and special powers throughout the game, and you can use them for free. They don't require an action. Now, these relics can be all kinds of different things. There's orbs and there's different ways to get more gold. There's weapons that give you ranged attacks and things of that nature. And they really are super valuable, so don't miss a chance to pick these up as you're moving across the board. Another action that you'll be most likely be performing quite frequently is jump. So you're looking at the board and there's traps right in front of you. You need to get over it. So you look at your jump stat, it's 2. You're going to roll 2 dice. You're looking for arrows. You're going to need 2 arrows to get over this particular pit. Now, you can move in a straight line or you can move in an L configuration as long as you don't land in the trap. If you land in the trap, you're defeated and removed from the board. Now, you're not dead. You're not out of the game. You drop half your gold and you'll be able to come back in the next round. But if you do make it, you could land on the other side and end up fighting enemies or potentially getting more gold or more treasure mounds, things of that nature. And landing safely is the key here. And a couple important notes about jumping is that if you happen to encounter a situation where there's a propeller rat that's hovering over a particular pit that you need to get past, well, that requires an additional point of jump to get past it. And if there happens to be gold in the trap, as you jump over it, you can snatch that gold out of the air as you pass by. Now let's take a look at fighting. You're going to be doing a fair amount of this as you deal with the enemies on the board and your fellow knights. If you are attacking a fellow knight, you're going to be pushing them around on the board is kind of your goal. Maybe pushing them into a pit. So you can push them left, right, or up and down if you defeat them. Now, the way battles work is that you look at your attack skill on your card. You're going to roll that many dice, and you're looking for shovels here. That's your attack value in the end. And if you're going against an enemy, you have to beat their defense value. And then whatever is left over, you do that much damage. You'll place markers next to the figure on the board so you know how much health they have left. But if you're fighting one of your fellow knights, they get to roll a defense against your attack as well. And it's also important to remember that if you're picking on your fellow knights, they can do the same to you on their next turn. Now, each enemy has a gold value associated with it. So if you defeat it in battle, you're going to collect that much gold. Now, another action you might perform in your turn is acquiring more equipment. If you happen to be on the spot with Chester, he is the board merchant, you can spend gold in order to buy items. Now, you could use all three of your actions here, spending 1, 2, and then 3 gold for 3 cards. Now, the thing is, though, it's a trade-off because you need gold. Whoever has the most gold, the most treasure at the end of the game is going to win. So, but these items that you purchase might help you get more gold. So there's a nice trade-off here for sure. So on your card, you'll see that you have 2 slots for equipment and 1 for armor. So again, giving you some nice choices throughout the game. Now, this equipment that you can receive is wide and varied. Some of it is going to give you pluses in your jump ability. You might get pluses in attack or even give you ranged attacks. But again, you're also looking for armor out of this equipment, giving you pluses to your defense bonuses. Now, another action you might use in your turn is your special action. But the hitch here is that you have to spend gold in order to activate this ability. So this is something you want to definitely use sparingly, or maybe not. Maybe it'll save you at some point in the game. But this is your big 1-2 punch kind of abilities. Then it's time for the enemies to activate. First thing they're going to do is move. Each one will move to the closest hero. Now, if there's a tie, then the hero that has the most gold, the enemy will go after. And if there's still ties, then it'll be related to turn order. Now, the thing here is that their enemies are all going to move in a specific order. The gold armors move first, and then you have the wisdoms move, and then you have the bone clangs, and then finally the propeller rats. And they're all going to move ever closer to the heroes. And of course, if an enemy is already in a space with a hero, they're going to stay put and attack that hero. And then all the enemies attack. You're going to look at their attack value, and that's how many hits they get. So it's up to you as the Shovel Knight to defend that. You roll your dice and you're looking for armor here. And for every armor, you deflect the incoming attacks. Now, the thing about this though is that if you do receive damage, you're going to place a marker on your card and you'll be pushed to the left. Now, if you're on the edge of the board, the furthest left, you cannot be pushed off, but you can be knocked down. So your next turn will be spent standing up. So you want to try to avoid that if possible. So it's entirely possible that you will be defeated. If you take enough damage, then you are defeated, you're going to lose half your gold, it'll drop in the spot, and you're removed from the board. Either that or you're pushed into a trap, which will again defeat you and you'll drop your gold. Now, these enemies are all going to be attacking in melee form, except for the Wisdom. The Wisdom can attack at ranged, and it's all line of sight from whatever row and column that they happen to be in. Then we come to the end phase, and this is where the side scrolling comes into play. If anything is on this leftmost tile, it's all going to be discarded. Any tokens, any Shovel Knights, if they are there, they are defeated. They are moved off the board. The next 3 tiles are shifted over, and a new tile comes out. Depending on the new tile, you might be spawning more monsters. Well, that's most likely going to happen. And then you're going to place treasure mounds. And then the round comes to an end. The first player will pass the marker on, and you'll start back up with the hero phase. Now it's time for the boss. So once the last tile has been shifted off the board, then the boss chamber is revealed. The heroes will all be placed on the left side of the board, and the boss will be on the right side of the board. Now, the thing is that the boss has his own stat card. that you'll be referencing throughout. He has special abilities and so forth, but he has his own set of cards. He has an AI deck, basically. And just like with the other monsters, his attacks always hit, so it's up to you as the Shovel Knight to defend those attacks. So you're going to take and flip over the card when he does attack, and you'll look at the areas in red. So everywhere that's in red, based on the grid of his card, will receive a damage or will receive a full-on attack. Anywhere in white, you're safe. Now, you as the Shovel Knight, if you're attacking the boss, for every hit that you land, you get 2 gold. And if you deliver that final devastating blow and defeat the boss, then you're going to get 3 gold. So after every hero's turn, you're going to pull one of these AI cards, doing more and more damage to everybody out on the board. Now there's an exception to these AI cards. When the last hero goes in the turn order, then the boss will not pull an AI card. Instead, they use their special ability. And all the bosses have very unique and different abilities. In this example, we only had the one to show. So getting to the boss fast and doing as much damage as possible is key. And then the hero, whoever has the most gold at the end of the game, is going to win. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview. Everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, I really enjoyed the video game, and they did a fantastic job capturing the same feel and movement in the tabletop version. And the miniatures are awesome. Really enjoyed this one. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like a game that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.